People like to ask me, GC, why do you dress so differently on your show? How come you don't have a consistent look? Well, shit, if you looked as good as I do in half the shit I wear, you wouldn't either.
So, Harvest Moon. Harvest Moon is a series I've been on and off with since coming across Harvest Moon 64 at my dad's friend's house of all places. From there, I played Harvest Moon 3, failed miserably at it, and I didn't touch it again until A Wonderful Life on the GameCube. So by fan standards, I'm sure I've played the worst the series has to offer. Which makes me extremely qualified to talk about it. My brief, and by brief I mean I'd play the game until I married the redhead and considered my virtual life at its peak, moments with those games, nurtured a love for simulators well before I ever touched The Sims, Animal Crossing, and the like. But as much as I've always liked Harvest Moon, I found each one I played a little lacking. For those of you that don't know, Harvest Moon is a game about farming. You grow crops, you raise livestock, you get a horse and a dog, and once your farm gets too big for you to handle by yourself, you get married and get your partner to do most of the work for you. As fun a concept as it is, the series doesn't really do much with it. Because it's a simulation, there isn't any goal outlined for you, and because its simple concept is never expanded upon, the gameplay can get stale pretty fast once the novelty wears off. I don't think I've ever played a single Harvest Moon game past the first year of the in-game calendar. That is, until now. Stardew Valley isn't part of the Harvest Moon franchise, but if you ask me, it's the best Harvest Moon game I've ever played. Stop me if you've heard this one before. Your grandfather has passed away, and on his deathbed gives you a letter containing the deed to his farm.
I could have sworn someone just asked me to stop.
I'm not gonna bore you with a long breakdown of how the farming works. You put shit into the ground, you spit on it, and then potatoes. It's not rocket science. It's agricultural science. Aside from farming, you can go fishing, mining, forage for items, and become friends with the townsfolk. Again, all things you can do in Harvest Moon, but that's where the similarities end and where Stardew Valley starts to distance itself from the term Harvest Moon clone. You see, the game takes those familiar gameplay elements and expands on them. It also brings them together with a robust crafting system. I know the crafting system has started to gain a stigma and scares a lot of people, but hear me out, okay? There are skills associated with each activity you can do in the game. The more you do a particular activity, the higher that skill gets, and raising your skill level makes doing that activity a little easier in many ways. For example, fishing isn't that wait for the bob to go under and then push a button to catch a fish kind of ordeal. It's a tug-of-war situation where you have to line up your green bar over the little fish in the meter. At first, all you've got is a shitty fishing rod and you can barely wrangle any kind of fish in, and you can't fish for long because each time you cast your line, you spend some of the limited energy you have for the day. But as you keep doing it, you start to figure out how the fish move on your line and how to line up the green bar perfectly so you can anticipate the next place the fish is gonna go. And with each fish you catch, you gain more experience towards the fishing skill. Leveling up decreases the amount of energy you spend every time you cast your line and slightly increases the size of your green bar. You learn crafting recipes from leveling up too. You learn the recipe for bait and you learn how to make fishing lures, and those fishing lures all do different kinds of things and have their own particular uses. It's almost as if you're learning a skill, as if this were real life. What a strange concept. Swap fish out for plants or plants for rocks, and you have a general idea of how each of these activities get more involved the better you get at doing them. But on top of being expanded upon, each of these forms of play, I guess, is that a good way of putting it? Each of these forms of play are interconnected with one another through the aforementioned crafting system. Once you reach a certain point in, say, I don't know, farming, you gain a crafting recipe for a sprinkler which will automatically water your crops every day. But to make make the sprinkler, you need metal ore from the mines, and when you get to the mines, you learn it's infested with monsters that aren't going to let you mine those rocks easily. So you gear up with a sword and health items that you either foraged for in the valley or harvested at your farm, and you go back in there and kill monsters while you're getting the stuff you need for the sprinkler. And then you make your sprinkler, which frees up some time in the morning for you to get your crop watering done faster, and that gives you more time to go back to the mines and kill monsters or get more materials for more sprinklers or go fishing or do any of the other things I haven't even mentioned yet. Let's say you really like killing monsters and want to fight your way to the bottom of the mine. As your combat skill goes up, you learn a cooking recipe that requires a kitchen to make, and the recipe is a better healing item that even gives a buff to your combat skill, so you totally want to make it. Now you need a kitchen, and to make one you need a certain amount of income and enough wood for the upgrade to your home. You notice where this is going, right? Every part of the game pours itself into another part while still managing to have its own exclusive facets of gameplay. And mastery over one of these several activities gives you more time to check out the other ones. Stardew Valley doesn't have a huge map. It's quite small and easy to memorize within minutes, but it facilitates exploration and discovery through the constant bouncing around between one thing and the next that it encourages the player to do. What ends up happening is this constant flow of little surprises that keep you going because it rejuvenates the novelty of the setting and the gameplay. Stardew Valley is all about curiosity and wanting to know what comes next, or if the statue you found in the middle of the forest means anything, and what the hell is this supposed to do, because it totally does something, I just don't know what it is yet. It starts with, well, I'm on a farm, so I might as well plant something, which then quickly becomes, man, there's gotta be a better way of doing this, which then results in, okay, I got the stuff, what the fuck is that? This is cool. And it's as cool as Stardew Valley wanting you to explore your creativity. With Harvest Moon, you typically have your farm's layout predetermined for you. The barn is here, the land you plant your crops in is here, your house looks like this, you have no say in the matter, plant your fucking tomatoes. But Stardew Valley says, you know what? You should be able to decorate the interior of your home the way you want to. You should be able to put your barn wherever you want, and if you want to fill every inch of bare ground with nothing but cobblestone floors, you should be able to do that. I'm not fond of throwing the word immersion around because part of me thinks it's a hokey way of saying playing this game made me forget about my bodily functions for an hour, but being able to create your ideal farm or whatever it is you want to put in that space is more captivating to me than being given a forced setup. The fact that there's more to do in this game besides growing turnips should be reflected in the player's environment. Maybe all they want to do is grow fruit trees or raise pigs. Maybe instead of having a practical farmland, they want to build a cool venue with park benches and shit. I don't know. I don't know what people would want to do with 40 acres of land all to themselves, and neither does Stardew Valley, so it lets you go nuts, and that's really why it grabs me in such a strong way. Sometimes we play games to escape a routine, and life simulators are all about routine. The player develops a schedule of tasks that gets bigger as they progress in the game and more mechanics reveal themselves, but the order in which they do those tasks is more or less concrete just on the basic principles of proximity. Farmland is closest to house, so crops get watered first. Chicken coop is next to farmland, so chickens get fed next, etc., and the schedule itself never drops any task, either because of necessity or efficiency. Crops bring in the most money, so we keep doing it. We have the farm, so we might as well have the animals, and all that other crap isn't very lucrative, so without doing this stuff first, I can't do the stuff I'm more interested in because I can't afford it. Play long enough, and ironically, the very thing you were using to escape your routine has now become the routine you can't escape. But because you can add and remove to your farm at will, and because everything you can do in Stardew Valley gives you not equal amounts of income, but sufficient amounts based on what you're doing, that life simulator routine can change up whenever you want it to. Sell all the animals, burn the barn down, big ass crop fields, fuck it, we're subsistence farmers now, and all we're gonna grow is 20 bean sprouts inside this greenhouse. Let's fill that open space with Tesla coils, because fuck you, I own the deed to this land, and if I want to make a tribute to Nikola Tesla, I will. I've been wanting to use this word in an appropriate context for a long time now, so after this next sentence, just give me a minute to marinate in my achievement, okay? This makes the routine you form in Stardew Valley modular instead of linear. There's a little more freedom to play around with how you want each day to go, and it's supported by the crafting recipes that streamline some of the work for you. You feel that? You feel that smugness coming through your speakers? That's the sensation of satisfaction. And that sensation of satisfaction can be found all over Stardew Valley. It wants you to celebrate every small discovery, personal achievement for completing a self-set goal, or small cutscene with one of the townsfolk you've grown close to. The appreciation for the little things in life that can make a day special. I think that's the kind of emotion Stardew Valley invokes, whether or not it's intentional. It's that pleasant feeling you get when scratching something off a to-do list, when you find a 20 in your pocket that you didn't know you had, or when you secretly let your friends win in fighting games for years and reveal it on one of your internet videos. But obviously that's not for everybody, and neither is accepting the fact that you suck at MVC3. Up until now, all I've talked about is what you can do, and not really a reason to do it other than your own personal gratification. It's easy to imagine someone saying, if there's nothing to work towards in this game, then I feel like it's pointless to play it. And that's a totally fair sentiment that I'm sure we've all felt at some point. But Stardew Valley does present you with its own set of goals that it wants you to do. People will post requests on the town's bulletin board for specific items. Quests will pop in your journal when you unknowingly start a chain after making some discovery while playing the game. And a much bigger goal involves acquiring items that can only be gotten reliably by fishing, mining, ranching, farming, and foraging all year round. In fact, completing parts of this monumental task can earn you crafted items well before you have the ability to make them, giving you a head start in the kind of activities those items allow. And those activities will trickle into something else, just like the other ones. It's this infinite gameplay loop that anyone can dive into and enjoy forever if they wanted to. And that's how I've put in over 80 hours into this game since I bought it 2 weeks ago. A lot of people have been saying that Stardew Valley is Harvest Moon cross Animal Crossing, and that's close. It isn't just trying to be another version of what it's inspired by, it's an improvement of those games. It's a love letter and a list of grievances all in one, and I wouldn't be surprised if the people it's addressed to take it to heart. I know I have. You think it's gonna be easy to go back to Harvest Moon after this game if it doesn't do half the things Stardew Valley did? Harvest Moon isn't even called Harvest Moon anymore. They changed the name to Story of Seasons. What a generic title. You might as well have called it, I don't know, Witticisms of the Weather. No, wait. That sounds cool. I'd play that game.
Much like the town it takes place in, Stardew Valley has got something for everybody. Until next time, my name is GC. Remember that you are amazing, and keep on playing positive.
Aside from farming, you can go fishing, mining, forage for items, and fuck. You can fuck. You can fuck all the time. It's awesome. Hey, thanks for watching another episode of GC Positive. I'm GC, and I am a positive kind of guy. If you're new here or just want to revisit some good memories, go ahead and click on either of the two videos you see in the sidebar over there, I guess. That thing, whatever that is. And if you'd like to get weird updates on what I'm doing with my life, how far I am along with the next video, or if you want to hear me talk about Star Trek and why I think it's cool and dumb at the same time, you can follow me on Twitter. Thank you for watching and continuing to watch my show, and if you'd like to know exactly when a new video comes up, you can always subscribe. It also helps me out. Tell your friends about me, stay amazing, and keep on playing positive. See you later, guys.